One day, I'll probably hand this game over to my son. And when I do, I'll tell him exactly where I got it, how long I had to save for it, why I wanted it so badly, why it meant so much for me. Every physical game I own has a story attached to it. But if Sony really moves to an all digital future soon, what exactly do we pass on? Let's rewind to 1999, probably one of the happiest days of my childhood. After months of me pestering my dad, he finally gave in and bought me my first PlayStation, the PS1. Now, I was obviously excited about the console, but one memory has always stayed with me. The shop where I bought the PS1 from allowed me to choose two free games. I must have stood there for almost 20-30 minutes, staring at every single game box before finally choosing Tekken 3 and Hot Wheels Turbo Racing. I couldn't even wait to get home, and I ripped the plastic off in the car and spent the entire drive home reading the manuals and staring at the box art, reading the instructions. Back then, the manuals weren't just instructions, they were part of the experience. It told a story, there were images from the game, and so much more. Even today, whenever I see that Tekken 3 case or that box art, I don't just remember the game, I remember my father smiling because he knew how badly I'd wanted that PlayStation. That memory isn't stored on a hard drive, it's attached to something I can still hold in my hands. Once I had my PlayStation, the next mission began, saving up for the next game. FIFA 2000, Crash Bandicoot, Siphon Filter. Every new disc had its own story. Sometimes I'd save pocket money, sometimes it was a birthday gift, sometimes I'd spend weeks deciding which game deserved my money. Even trading games with friends became memories. One friend would buy one game, I'd buy another, then we'd swap discs once we're finished. I even remember trading Pokemon with a neighbor to complete the Pokédex. I think I still have my old Pokemon Gold cartridge somewhere in my house. Every one of those memories is attached to something physical. Now, I completely understand why Sony wants to go towards digital gaming. They've said that almost 80% of PlayStation game purchases are already digital. From a business perspective, it makes perfect sense. No discs, no manufacturing costs, no shipping, lower costs, higher profits. I don't blame Sony for making a business decision, but business decisions also change how people experience stuff, and gaming is going to see a massive change. When I buy a physical game, I own it. It's not a license. I can actually lend it to a friend. I can trade it. I can display it. I can pass it on. With digital games, I'm buying access through Sony's ecosystem. It's convenient, of course, it saves space, and I do buy digital games, but it doesn't feel the same. Another thing we'll slowly lose are game stores. I still remember walking into stores just to look around what has been released, looking at the covers, the backs of the boxes, maybe try some games out in the game stores, talking to the people who work there. Now, most of these places have already disappeared. Without physical media, I actually don't see any of them surviving. Then there's something even bigger, sharing. During the PS2 and PS3 days, my friends and I constantly swapped games. One person bought God of War, somebody else got Gran Turismo, somebody else got FIFA Street. We all got to experience more games because we shared them. I even gave my PS3 and a stack of old games to my nephew when I upgraded to a PS4. Watching him get excited almost felt as good as getting my own PlayStation years earlier. That's a memory I'll never forget. Now, I'm not saying that Sony will suddenly start charging ridiculous prices online, but when there are fewer physical retailers out there competing and no real used market for future digital only releases, Sony naturally has more control over pricing. Consumers lose choice, and we've seen all what happens when competition disappears. Now, don't get me wrong, digital gaming isn't all bad. I do buy digital games and I use the Retroid Pocket 5 to replay classics through emulation. Technology moves forward, that's just how life works. but sometimes progress comes with trade offs. And that's what brings me back to this game. One day I'll hand this over to my son. I'll tell him about that drive home in 1999, about my dad, about saving up, about reading manuals before I even reached home, about why the silly plastic box means so much more than just a game. But I'm not sure he'll be able to build a collection that I did or even hand it to his own children. Maybe that's how technology evolves. Maybe that's the future. But I can't help feeling that we are losing something special along the way. Not just discs, not just manuals, but actual stories. So let me ask you this: what's the one physical game you'll never sell? The one that carries the most memories, the one that has a great story behind it? Do share them in the comments section. And until next time, take care.